What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/All-NBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler. Legs, how'd your weekend go? Did we lose him?
Weekend was great, man. We had a little birthday party celebration for my son. He actually turns 4 today, but his party was Saturday, and so it really turned into Saturday, Sunday, and today, 3-day celebration of my son. So it was kind of a fun weekend for us, man, in the Legler household, watching him turn 4. Of course, my wife is already thinking he's going to move out to college next year. So she's already devastated. She's devastated that he's 4 years old. She wants to hold on to him being a baby as long as she can. But yeah, that's kind of what we were up to this weekend, man. So it was fun that I was off. I wasn't working. I was able to be home, and we had a great weekend.
Well, I get it, man. I'm on your wife's side. My daughters are 9 and 10, and I am very aware of the fact that I'm halfway done raising them. Beyond halfway. So it goes fast, man. And we were actually talking before we went live. My daughter has been playing. My 9-year-old, who's really tall, she's the tallest girl in her class, has been playing a lot this last couple months. I played basketball. I still play basketball. So going on 42 years now, I've been playing basketball, covering the league for 12 years. I've coached. I've done all this stuff. Training my daughter is my favorite thing I've done in basketball. I'm addicted to it. I totally get why LeVar Ball is the way he is. I can see myself becoming LeVar Ball.
Well, it's interesting. So that you say that. So just a quick story about this. I have 2 older children as well, and they both were born into a basketball family. My ex-wife was a Division I player. So they didn't have much of a choice. It was our life. It was a big part of our life. So they took to it very, very early. My son was playing when he was 2. That's all he wanted to do was dribble basketball. My daughter could shoot a basketball with really good form, and she was 5 years old, and she was really big for her age. They took to the game early. They played it. They played it all the way through high school, great high school careers. Both of them played Division III basketball, had excellent careers in college. And I did coach them when they were younger and worked them out. But I'm going to tell you, I didn't want to.
Really?
It wasn't no, I didn't. I had no desire whatsoever. But what happened was you take them. I took them to their early practices, right? Travel team or rec team or whatever. And I'm just hey, listen, man, I literally just want to sit in the corner and watch. I don't want to do any part of this, but I travel a lot. So when I'm home, I do like to come to practice, spend more time with my kids. And the coaches were always yeah, great. Then you sit in the corner and you watch kind of what's going on. And you're oh my God, this is the only thing I'm really good at. This and going to school. I was good at those 2 things. And if I don't pass this on, what I know about it, I'm doing a disservice to them because they love it. If they didn't love it, I wouldn't care. But they did love it. So I jumped in, man. I think my first team I coached was when my son was 9. My daughter was 12. And from that point on, I coached both of their teams quite a bit, coached AAU, both of them, all of that. And I loved every second of that. But I'm telling you, I had no desire to do that. I wanted other people to be able to do it because I was worried about it just being too much, man, too much, basketball in the house with me having done it professionally. But some of the best times of my life I'll look back on with my children are going to be those moments, working them out one-on-one or coaching them in games, traveling to tournaments, all the fun on the weekends of all those years of them playing. So I hear what you're saying, man, but it sounds like you are a little bit more yeah, I really want to do this than I was in the beginning. I got there, but I wanted other people to do it if they could.
I was the same way. So this was the first year I started training her. So before it was she knew I liked basketball, but just let her do all sports or whatever. But this is the first year she really got into it. And now we work out probably 2 times a week. We'll go out and do some kind of 30-minute workout. And she just loves it. And, so successfully addicted to basketball.
It's a
which I
great
think is
it
so
is
cool.
great, man. It is great. Look, they think here's the bottom line. When it's something you love as much as you
Yep.
do, and they naturally take to it, and now they
Yep.
want to work at it and get better, and you can help them. It is. It's gonna be some of the best memories of your life are gonna be these years, man. Because maybe come a day when she doesn't want you coaching her anymore, helping her, whatever. It happens.
Right.
But
Yep.
but for now, the fact that she wants to do it, you love it, that's a really cool thing, man. So congrats. That's fun.
It's pretty fun, man. Today's show, we appreciate everybody tuning in here on a Monday, holiday week. We're going to have a great week of shows for you. Today, we're going to talk about the rookies. There's some really big standout rookies right now that I just kind of want to get Legs' takes on, because there's a lot of guys that I didn't expect to be as good as they are right out of the gate. And we're going to get to all of those guys and just talk about who stands out. We'll get a little bit, try to go quickly on Rockets Nuggets, because it was such a big game over the weekend between two of the three best teams, in my opinion, in the NBA squaring off. And then later on, we'll look at Ja, Tre, and LaMelo. Who would you rather build your team around? That'll be kind of a fun one. But we're going to start, as we always do, by talking about the games, the actual games. And last night, we saw a really good one between the Hornets and the Hawks. Both teams are shorthanded. So you have no Trae Young, no Porzingis. And on the Hornets side, Kalkbrenner was out. You had LaMelo Ball out. And yet the game was fantastic. It went down to the wire, and the Hawks got the win 113-110. It was a huge performance from Jalen Johnson. No surprise. It was a huge performance from Kon Knueppel. Bit of a surprise. What stood out to you about this game?
Well, first of all, you're right. It was a super entertaining game. And I think for me, and they were missing some guys last night, Charlotte, but I've said, and I'll continue to say it because of last night was another example of it. They're like my most, this is my guilty pleasure bad team to watch. That's how I feel about
Yeah.
Charlotte. I have fun when I watch them, and, like, when LaMelo
Yeah.
plays, it's a lot more fun because I think he's one of the more entertaining players in the league. I mean, we could talk about other aspects of his game, and we will, a little bit later. But just in terms of entertainment, the guy's got flair, man. He's got flash and flair, and nothing's gonna be ABC when LaMelo Ball plays, but he wasn't there. But despite that, I still like watching guys like Bridges play. Knueppel's been one of the really amazing rookie seasons we've seen, I think, in recent years with what he is doing right now. And it's like he found his footing quickly to the point where now it's not like every now and then he'll hit you with a splashy 25-point game, and then he's like 12, 13 most of the time, and then there's another 25 game. This dude now is at the point you're like 25 is like his baseline, like 25 to 30. That's what you're expecting out of Kon Knueppel right now, because he has gone completely off. So he's really, really fun to watch. So that the game is entertaining. I felt like there was a critical play in this game that probably turned it in Atlanta's favor. And it was a drive by Collin Sexton up 3, about 2.5 minutes to go. He drives, converts. It looks like it's going to be a 3-point play. He makes that. They're up 6 or 2.5. That's a lot of time in an NBA game. You're much more likely to win the game than what happened, which was after here thinking he's got an and one coming, the baseline ref builds up the call, comes off the call, and hits him with the offensive foul. And they go to the replay, and there was a little bit of a clear out with his right arm as he laid it. I personally thought, okay, I guess by the letter of the law, you can call that. I didn't think there was a whole lot there. To me, that turned the game. You could potentially go up 6. Instead, now you're playing defense only up 3 with 2.5 minutes to go. And then the next possession, Atlanta cuts it to 1. That's an enormous turn of events. Otherwise, I think Charlotte has a great chance to get this win, but Atlanta made the plays down the stretch they had to.
That was a big call, and Collin Sexton was in attack mode this entire game, as he always is. I mean, he's kind of an interesting player. I was thinking about it as I was watching him last night, and that he's a good player. He can score. He plays hard every single night. He's incredibly quick, and he's one of these guys that might just spend his career. He's good enough that he might always find himself on teams like this, like the Hornets when they're down, because I was thinking about what does he look like on a good team? And it's almost like he has more value on a team like this. I know that's a weird thought, but sometimes there are players that spend 10, 11 years in the league and they're always on bad teams, and it might not be a coincidence.
Collin Sexton is a guy that sometimes I think we forget about how good what guy was early in his career before the knee injury. You're talking about a guy that in his third year in the league averaged 24.5 points a game in Cleveland. And was like, everybody was talking about, wow, this is the next like elite lead guard in the NBA because he played lead, but he could drop big numbers on you. He could also play make. He played with a lot of energy, really, really fast and dynamic up the floor in the open court, could shoot the three. We thought we had that guy. Then he suffers a terrible knee injury, and now it's been a little bit of a different path for him. But you're right. I think in order to get back close to that, you almost have to go to a place where they desperately need what you bring, and you're going to get an opportunity to play a ton of minutes. The ball's going to be in your hands. They're not going to win a lot of games. That almost is like a better situation right now for him to show you a certain nights kind of what he was, because Collin Sexton was on his way to becoming a guy that maybe even was an all-star guard, perennially in this league at that time. We'll never really know that now. I mean, he's still, only 26 years old, so he's got a lot of basketball. Got a lot of basketball left in him, but it's a shame that he was kind of robbed of right when he was hitting that stride where you're like, man, this guy, because you were looking at the numbers he was putting up then, like you were paying attention to Collin Sexton. And now he goes away for a little bit. You don't notice him as much in Utah. Now he has a chance. Look, they're not watching Charlotte either, but at least he's got an opportunity with the ball in his hands to go be the dynamic guy that he was before.
Well, the next guy I want to talk about, I want to save Kon Knueppel for just a second because he's so fascinating. We're going to spend some time on him, but I'm going to start with Jalen Johnson. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists in the game, no turnovers, 11 of 22. I love this guy's game. It's interesting because I don't think, like, when he gets the ball, last night there's no Trae Young. He's kind of the engine, and I thought Atlanta, for all of the players that they have a hard time sort of collapsing the defense and doing different things. You're playing through him. And the thing about him is he never makes mistakes. He just makes the right read all the time, but he doesn't necessarily always generate the greatest looks because for all of his talents, he's not like getting by the first line of defense over and over again or posting up and collapsing. He kind of slowly works his way to his spots and then finds guys when they cut or what have you. But he doesn't make mistakes, Legs. I never feel like he's dribbling outside the lines or over dribbling. He never takes shots where I'm like, man, that's an ugly shot. And he's not forcing passes or forcing plays that aren't there. He is among the most in control players in the league. And then, of course, you add all the talent that he has. He's such a unique guy, in my opinion, because of that trait.
Yeah, and you talk about being in control, 11 assists, no turnovers. I mean, and I agree with you. It's crazy because you're talking about somebody with just top tier highlight film athletic ability. But when he's really operating in those spaces of like an ISO or a one-on-one situation, he's very measured and controlled, and he's going to use his length more than anything else to do what he needs to do. And he had big plays late in this game, particularly one where he went one-on-one and shot a really nice turnaround jumper from like 15 feet just because he's long and he can go over the top. It was a big-time shot, cut it to one. And it's just fascinating in that way because then 3 trips later, it could be a situation where someone else gets the outlet and he's just running the wing and they can throw the thing above the square and he can go get it and finish a transition play like that. But when he's got it, he's very, very measured in what he's doing. For a guy that's an elite level athlete, he's very patient. He doesn't ever get his feet tangled. He's not going too fast where he like kind of loses his balance and falls down trying to turn the corner. Like he doesn't make plays like that. And a lot of elite young athletes do because they're in such a hurry to go be an athlete. And he is more like a basketball player and an athlete second almost in a lot of ways. And that's what makes him so interesting. And that's why the sky's the limit for him, and he's on a team that's relevant, man. And they're going to be relevant this year. They're going to be a playoff team this year. And he's going to have an opportunity on a big stage to see like what step has he taken, from a year ago in that situation.
And I love how you put it because he is an explosive athlete and he had that dunk in this game that just like when he elevates it, he takes the elevator up. He just floats through the air like jumping is effortless for him. And yet 99% of the time he's on the court, you wouldn't know that. If you erase the explosive plays, he plays like anybody else, just kind of ground bound and crafty. He's quick, but he doesn't necessarily have a great handle, quick first step. And this is why I think he actually can get a lot better. Is he really beats you meticulously and like you said, just being in control. But if his handle improves, because his handle still, so there's times when he's making moves where the ball looks like it's going to slip out of his hands. It doesn't, but it's not the cleanest looking handle. But that to me is so encouraging because he's a 22 point per game. He's a double-double guy, almost a triple-double guy right now. And he does it almost exclusively off of craft, despite having all of that athleticism. So he's a guy to me that if he improved, I mean, his 3-point shot, which I don't really trust, even though he shoots it okay, it's not a very comfortable looking shot. And his handle, which doesn't look comfortable, those are the things you can improve most as you go throughout your career. And he's already a triple-double threat.
Yeah, the 3-point shooting, look, he takes ones he can make now, so he's 41% because he's not looking to take step back threes and where he's up taking 7-8 of those a game. He takes a little over 3 a game because he's taking ones that are makeable for him. Maybe he adds that. I think his potential that he can. He's got a similar sort of frame to a guy like Jason Tatum. I like using Tatum a lot as an example because Jason Tatum has improved his handle and his step back shooting and his ability to get deep shots off the dribble exponentially since he came into the league. Jalen Johnson is 23 years old. Jalen Johnson, between now and, by the time he turns 26, there's no telling what this guy's going to add to his game in terms of command of his handle, escapability, and then more range off the dribble. For now, it's working well for him. And when they're fully healthy and they've got weapons around him, he's even better because there's more guys now that give him more angles and gaps and more one-on-one coverage even than he's going to see on nights when Trae Young's not out there, Porzingis isn't out there. If you have nights like that, it's a little bit harder for him, a little bit different because he hasn't really improved those areas of his game to the extent that we're talking. That will come. I'm confident in it. The guy seems like he loves to play. And so I think that there's a good chance he adds some of the things we're talking about over the next couple seasons.
I'll tell you this, you could slot him into any team in the league and he makes them better. And there's not that many players you can say that about. Some guys it's fit or whatever, but he does things that when I watch him play, I'm like, man, that guy, you could throw him on a contender. You could throw him on a tanking team, no matter what, he's making your team a lot better. The next guy I'm going to ask you about, it's my guy, Dyson Daniels. And I hate to say this, he had a great game last night, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He did a little bit of everything. He was great. And they got the win. But what stood out to me was they put their center on him for most of this game, for large portions of this game, because Nique Clifford's hitting threes. And so which is a great thing. You're supposed to stretch your big out when you have a spacing big. But they would just put him on Dyson Daniels, and Dyson, doesn't want to shoot the mid-range, the three-pointer. And there were times he would turn the corner on a pick and roll, get to the paint, and not even look at the basket because Mason Plumlee would be off him 8 feet just saying, I dare you to take a 15-footer. And his shot obviously is not great, but he's got to figure something out for when teams guard him that way because that's like just playing 5-on-4.
Yeah, and I hope that he does. I don't know yet if he's going to or not. I mean, I make this joke all the time. If you go to dinner and you tip at a higher rate than you shoot a 3-point shot, you're probably not a very good shooter. So you said he doesn't shoot it great. 17% from the 3-point line. Again, he doesn't take a lot either. He understands his limitations. Yeah. Most of the ones he takes are shots he doesn't want to. It's later in the clock. He's got to take it, or the guy's 18 feet off of him and he doesn't have a choice because it messes up the entire flow of the possession. So he has to shoot it. I mean, look, if you're Dyson Daniels, and you want to, get your game to a whole nother place of relevance in this league and in an area where, you're just much more noticed and talked about other than an elite defender who occasionally can have big scoring nights because you get to your spots in the lane. Like he can have a night like last night where that was possible, but like there's a lot of nights where that's not going to be. And he's going to be, hey, we're going to laud him for his defense. It's great. And he's a big time defender. He's got incredible hands, maybe the best set of hands in a one-on-one as a one-on-one defender in the league with strips, and he can poke from behind. He comes over the top when guys beat him and they go to shoot, he's over the top with that long reach. So his disruptive ability with his reach and his hands and his activity is incredible. The deflections we talk about all the time. But okay, what do you want to be known for? Is that going to be it? Or do you want to be somebody that can add that? Look, some guys never get comfortable with it, Adam, never, their entire career. And they go, you know what? At some point, if you get up to, your mid to late 20s and you're still kind of in the same boat, at some point you let go of that thought. And now you just go, okay, you know what? Things have gone pretty well for me being what I am, and I'm just going to embrace that. And I think right now he's not focused too much on adding that. I don't think it's really seems like a priority for him because he's having a lot of success with what he's doing. Question is always going to be, what do you want your ceiling to be? because that ultimately is going to matter. And look, you don't have to be a guy that takes 6, 7 threes a night and shoots 40%. You'll never be that probably. But can you be somebody that's at least enough of a reasonable threat that you have to be guarded differently with a closeout or with someone just being closer to you when you have a live dribble? It makes your team better because the spacing of the entire possession is better for other people. And that's what we're talking about. It remains to be seen. He's really, really young. I don't know. Let's have this conversation a couple years from now and see how much different it looks.
His backcourt running mate, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, had a great game, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal, and that steal happened to be a game winner on Kon Knueppel down the stretch. He's sort of the counter to Dyson Daniels in that they're both going to play incredible defense, but he will take the 3 with confidence. But the steal at the end of the game was kind of a Kon Knueppel. We're going to talk a lot about him. He was very impressive. He erased him on that game-winning drive that he attempted.
Yeah, he did. It was incredible. It's the stuff we talk about all the time, the late strip, when you're kind of compromised defensively, because Knueppel had him in a good spot to get something up to the rim, but he was so quick with his hands. And I don't know if you remember this, but I think you and I talked about it. I know I talked about it on some stuff I did on ESPN, but I think you and I also talked about this. The guys that have the ability to slide laterally while also being active with their hands, it's a very rare quality, because normally to get going laterally against a quick player, your hands come back because you need your hands and your arms to kind of help you slide with full speed because you're using that part of your body. The guys that can slide laterally without getting their feet all messed up while making a play on the ball at the same time is very, very rare. Nickeil Alexander-Walker stood out to me from the very first time I saw him play in the NBA with his ability to be perfectly upright. Like, he sits in a chair defensively, his rear end and quads are down, but his back is vertical, and he has the ability to still slide, and then his hands, palms are up, raking, tipping, constantly making you think he's going to poke it away. It's exactly the play he made on Knueppel right there. Knueppel thinks he's got the corner turned. He's got the advantage. He leaves the ground. He goes up. He's thinking he's got a left-handed layup coming his way. And just as he's getting the ball above his waist, here comes the strip. His hand comes in at exactly the right time to get that deflection and make the play. On a night, Knueppel, again, was sensational offensively. Nickeil Alexander-Walker makes the big play of the game defensively on him.
This is, of course, our game breakdown presented by FanDuel. You can get started with 150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. We always start our shows talking about the actual games that happened last night. We pick one game that we think was most interesting. This game was a really good one, and so we both watched it. Let's go to the other side now, because what I really want to talk about on this episode is Kon Knueppel. 28 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, just 2 turnovers, 9 of 17 from the floor, 7 of 11 from 3. Legs. Oh, you can cut that music there, James. the Kon Knueppel was last night knocking down, it felt like, every shot he put up, and he was hunting his shot. His shot, to me, you're the shot doctor, and this is why I'm so curious to hear what you say. His shot, to me, looks as beautiful as Klay Thompson's. He looks to me like he could be a Klay Thompson 2.0 type shooter. He moves off ball incredibly well. He handles the ball well he actually can keep the defender off him, get to spots, run pick and roll, do different things. But when he catches it on a kick out, if he's moving or whatever, even if he's running into the catch, his shot becomes textbook perfect. He could get the ball out of his hands in a phone book, and it just looks balanced. It looks even. And every time he shoots it, I think it's going in.
Well, okay, let's start with you referenced Klay Thompson, so we got to. I'll start there. So I love Knueppel too, and I want to talk about, first of all, how I've kind of missed his ceiling as a player. I was surprised when Knueppel started out, when I was originally starting to dive into the draft, getting ready for preparation for the draft. I was like, okay, at that time, he was looking to go somewhere like 10 to 12 in the first round. And I was like, okay, I can see it. He's going to be a nice NBA player. Now, you fast forward a couple of weeks. Now we're getting closer to the draft. At one point, I saw, well, okay, he's moved up, but he's going to go no higher than 7th. And I thought, wow, man, this guy's going to make it into the top 7. Like, I was kind of like, wow, that's a really high pick. I don't know exactly what his ceiling is going to be as an NBA player. Then, as we got closer to those last few days, it was talking about top 5. Now it's like, my goodness, he ends up going 4th. And so I want to give Charlotte all the credit in the world for using the 4th pick on him, because he absolutely is worthy. And right now, look, he's on a bad team, but I mean, he may have gobbled up all of that space that Cooper Flagg had separated for Rookie of the Year early on. And just with expectations, Kon Knueppel is averaging 23 points a game in his last 11 games.
Wow.
And he's got such an important role in their offense. The ball's in his hands constantly late. They keep going back to him. And that's a lot for a rookie to have on his plate, Adam. And when look, Nickeil Alexander-Walker made the strip on him last night, but it's a lot to ask of a rookie to go settle games, man, as a guard in this league. It's really tough. So, first of all, his ceiling's higher, but you talk about Klay Thompson. I do want to say this. As far as you either have a beautiful shot or you don't, both of those guys have perfect releases. Okay, so they're both perfect, picture perfect, mechanically gorgeous shots. Kon Knueppel is a better ball handler now than I think Klay Thompson was at any point in his career. Klay Thompson never did more than 1 or 2 or 3 dribbles to get his own shot, really only. Knueppel is running high ball screen, getting downhill, making plays for people. So the playmaking component is higher for Knueppel already than Klay's. The one thing I'll say about Klay, I don't want to shortchange him in this regard. Klay Thompson's ability to catch release, like in terms of time in his hand and out of his hand in a tight space, is probably the greatest I've ever seen off the catch. And then the big game ability. Who knows, right? I'm not doubting Knueppel in that way.
I know. I'm going to bet on it.
A dude that's, yeah, you're right. You're probably right. But let's just be fair and say, let's get there first. Like playing some big games in the spring, when you got a guy that's won 4 titles, that was incredibly instrumental in those runs. So I hear what you're saying. Bottom line is this, man, right? Kon Knueppel, this guy is flat out, man, a player. This is going to be a really, really high level player in this league for a long time, because he's a lot more than I thought he was offensively.
Well, he had some of these big scoring and big 3-point outputs early on, and it's kind of like, okay, nice. Rookie shooter, had a couple hot games already, but now you're right. The team gives him the ball. I mean, the last play of the game, when they needed a bucket, they gave him the ball and ran an action for him to attack. And it was, hey, go win the game for us, which for a rookie, is such a big deal. But 44% from 3 right now on 8.5 attempts a game. And there's a lot of shooters that can't get off 8.5 attempts a game when the other team knows that's the game plan. When it's, hey, we're trying to get this guy 3-point shots. Okay, everybody's going to do what they can to get the ball out of his hands. Quick release. You were talking about Klay Thompson's quick release. Kon Knueppel knows when his shot is coming. And there's guys running out at him, and he kind of sees him coming, and he still gets the ball and goes right into his shot and drains it. So to me, I just look at it and I'm like, man, this guy, my prediction is between him and Reed Shepherd, and there's a handful of other great shooters, but these guys are going to challenge, in my opinion, they're going to challenge some NBA records, 3s in a season, 3-point percentage on volume, because to me, I just think his shot looks that repeatable and he gets it off in so many different ways.
Well, here's some of the things, like just technically breaking his game down, that he does exceptionally well. And they're using him a lot as a ghost screener and a slip out screener. He runs up there to full sprint, like he's going to run a 2-man ball screen. He slips out of it so quickly. And to do that, when you run up to the top of the key to do a ghost screen as a ball screener, as a shooter, he screens and then he kind of sprints through the screen to that open area, right, on the opposite wing. And when he's doing that, a lot of times he's turning his body entirely around. So now by the time he catches it, he has gone from his back to the basket to his shoulders facing the basket in one motion. He's turning his body, planting both feet, catching it, and letting it fly, and he's perfectly on balance. Like his footwork on it is so good. And it's very rare to see young players kind of this good with their footwork on stuff like that. So that's the first thing that jumps out to me. He does it a lot. He's really good at it. The second thing, Adam, he does, very few young shooters do this. It takes them 3-4 years in the league typically to hit guys with a fake on a flyby, regather and shoot it anyway, or take one dribble, sidestep, and like be patient with it. First of all, most shooters that are young come into the league and you're known as a shooter, you're shooting the first one with a guy flying at you, and it's going to be highly contested. You're going to probably hit front rim, and now your shooting percentages are 32%, 15, 20 games in, because that's what most rookies look like. Because they don't understand that, like, I can get a better shot if I'm patient, let this guy fly by. But it takes an incredible amount of poise and patience for a young player to up fake on it when a guy's flying at you, and then sometimes he'll let him fly by. He won't even dribble. He'll just regather, go up in the same place. And I can just tell you, as a guy that shot the ball for a living, that is the toughest shot you have as a shooter. The pump fake and then shoot it anyway without re-dribbling, that's a really difficult shot. He can do that so well for a young player, man. So his maturity is off the charts in terms of his comfortability with any kind of shot out there on the perimeter.
He had one last night, and you knew it was in. It was late in the game, little pump fake that you're talking about. I think he did take a dribble on this one, but a little pump fake with a guy running at him, step to the side, and it was like, you just know it's in. And that's what I mean about the inevitability, the Clay Steph thing. When a guy gets that look and you just know, you're like, well, he got him. That's for sure going in. He has that. But yes, his off the dribble game is part that is intriguing, because spot up shooters have so much value. They're valuable. But when you can put the ball in a guy's hand and he can do other things with it, including get to the rim, that's dynamic. So how, based on what you've seen, what is his upside at that? Because that would change the equation for Charlotte if he's a guy that you can count on to be maybe a primary ball handler, but at least a secondary ball handler that you can run actions through.
I mean, a guy, this guy's perennially, if he gets on a good team, he's going to be an all-star. I mean, I think he's that good because he also rebounds the ball well. He's tough. He's physically strong. His IQ is going to get him by with the one part of his game that maybe he lacks a little, which is just that raw foot speed for a guard. But his IQ is so good. His anticipation skills are so good. He can negate that too. So he's
Oh, I think your mic got unplugged there. Maybe.
You good? Sorry.
There you go.
I want to give you a number that's pretty interesting. So you're talking about guys maybe because they're coming into the league young and are super high level shooters, like thinking about where they could be 15 years from now in terms of made threes and challenging guys like Curry and whatnot. Who knows? Curry could put that number by the time he might play another 3 years. Who knows what that number will be and how long it'll take someone to challenge. But just to give you perspective on it, Steph Curry was like 21 when his rookie year. So Knueppel's 20. All right. So they're basically the same age. Curry was a little bit older when he started out because he was in college longer. Right. But here's the number I want you to look to. Knueppel, 3.8 made threes per game. That's what he's making in November. And that might last the rest of the season because he's had 9 games where he's made 4 or more threes already. So he's
that's 3. hard to do.
He's 3.8 made threes per game. Let's just say that's what it ends up this year. Do you know what season of Steph Curry's career he made 3.8 made threes per game for the first time?
This is more about the evolution of the league than anything, but no, I would guess, I don't know, a couple years in?
Yeah, his 7th season.
Wow.
Took Curry 7 years to hit more than 3.8 made threes per game. Knueppel's doing it now as a rookie. So that's your point. You're right. And look, Curry began this revolution in 3-point shooting. But like now guys are coming into the league that have the green light, that are great shooters, to take 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 threes in a given game right out of the gate, just by sheer math. If you play long enough and stay healthy, you are going to put a dent in some of these 3-point records and catch some of these legends of the game that put up, huge makes for their career.
No, there's so many guys right now that just, it's unbelievable how good they are shooting. And I like this comment from BBT Boy, Minnesota. Says more and more these new rookies are growing up watching and studying nothing but the modern era of ball players. These guys are just going to keep getting better and better. And I do think you see that. There's weaknesses, like there's things in the game that are being filtered out, like important skills that are less prominent and less worked on. But things like shooting and even just the spacing and movement off of this new spacing in the NBA, like guys like Knueppel, Reed Shepherd, they come in and they just know how to find seams to get their shot off. And if they get open, man, I just feel like it's automatic. Anything else from the Hornets side of this? I mean, they were missing some of their main guys. I will say the thing that stood out to me is just how many young players they have. McNeely, Simpson, Knueppel, James. they got a lot of young guys, and they didn't even have LaMelo or Kalkbrenner. You kind of watch them play, and you say, you know what? There's some talent there. There's like some interesting developmental talent on the Hornets side.
There's a lot of talent on that team. It's just, first of all, getting them all out there on the same night has been problematic for them for a few years. But there's a lot of talent on this team, and they are fun to watch. I don't know that they necessarily think the game like winners, like that part of it, like the winning mentality of like what it takes and the actual dirty work and the grit you have to win on a nightly basis. But there's no doubt they've got a lot of offensive talent. I mean, it starts though for me with you got to have your best guys play in this league. And I was looking at it this morning because I was just curious. Going into this season, LaMelo Ball has been available to play 58% of the games of his career. 58%. I mean, so you're basically, it's almost a 50-50 proposition practically for his career. Are you going to have him or aren't you? He's so dynamic with his shooting and playmaking. He absolutely makes guys better with his passing, but he's also a really high volume shot taker too. So there's some nights you watch him and you're like, nobody else is involved enough for a guy with that kind of vision. But I think there's nights he thinks he's got to do it himself, and he might have to take 25 shots to get a win because he's got that much faith in himself. But so they're a disjointed group. They don't necessarily have the winning components, but they've got a lot of talent, and they've got guys that are interesting to watch and guys that can fill it up on given nights. And they just added another one with Kon Knueppel.
Well, I'm adding Kon Knueppel to. There's some of these young rookies that to me are giving me reasons to watch the teams they're on. Like the Hornets right now, the season hasn't been great, but he's so fun to watch that I don't dread watching a Hornets game. I just kind of want to watch him and see what he becomes. All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, I mentioned all these rookies. It's been a loud rookie class because there's rookies that have had some loud performances, and we're going to make our list of guys that are standing out to us on the other side. But first, NBA full swing. FanDuel is your home for live betting, so even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join because FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/AllNBA to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? I wanted to be a podcast host. Well, not really, but I did want to be around the game of basketball. 6 years ago, I got together with a group of friends and said, let's make All City. And one of the first things we had to get was Shopify, the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. We use Shopify with all of our stuff. We have cool merch for all of our local markets. We got to get some merch for this show. Would you guys buy an All-NBA shirt or hat? I'm guessing a lot of people would. Shopify even powers everything we do here, from the merch store to everything else. And they've got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into... There it is, with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. All right, back here, segment 2 of the All-NBA show. I'm with Tim Legler. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything, any of the shows that we have this week. We had a great one with Mark Stein yesterday, who was giving us the inside scoop on what people are talking about around the NBA. You're not going to want to miss that. But Legs, the rookies are going crazy. Kon Knueppel, we talked about 19. He's leading all rookies in scoring. And by the way, on FanDuel right now, he is even odds with Cooper Flagg for Rookie of the Year. Cooper Flagg came in an overwhelming favorite. Kon Knueppel right now plus 115, Cooper Flagg plus 115. That tells you more than anything how good he's been out of the gate.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. Look, and look, Dallas has 5 wins. Charlotte's got 4 wins. Dallas is the team you look at and go, yeah, there might be a lot of help coming. AD is going to be coming back. You might get Kyrie back in January, possibly, if not February. There's a lot better days ahead, I think, for Dallas the second half of the year, assuming they don't trade AD, but who knows? I mean, that's possible. Yeah. But here's the thing, that's going to affect Cooper Flagg in some ways. Like offensively, he's getting all the opportunities in the world right now. I mean, they even go to him late in games. A lot of times they put the ball in his hands and let him go. You know, if those guys do stay and they come back, Kyrie comes back. I mean, you think about like Cooper's numbers will probably be greatly affected as a scorer over the last 2 months of the season, 2-3 months of the season, if that happens. Now they're going to win more games. And so people look at that too. Look, okay, he's on a better team. His numbers are down. Knueppel, even with like LaMelo Ball back, Brandon Miller back, Knueppel to me, because he's doing it so efficiently, yeah, he might not shoot the ball as much when you've got those two guys out there, but he shoots it so efficiently, and they might be better looks when those guys play. There's no telling. Like maybe he keeps this going. He averages 20 a game for a really long stretch. He has made the Rookie of the Year conversation, I think, a lot more interesting from his standpoint than I thought it could be. I knew Cooper Flagg would be the favorite. And there's other guys on this list I thought were going to be would be the biggest challengers. It's clear now it's going to be Knueppel if he stays healthy. I think will be the guy that challenges him the most. And there are a number of guys on this list that have had great starts. Some guys are cooling off a little bit. Some guys are actually picking it up now. So we'll see. It's an up and down thing with rookies. But Knueppel to me is a known commodity already. Like I kind of know now what most of his nights are going to look like going forward.
I know you were in Dallas last week. Cooper Flagg didn't play in the game you were there. Is that correct? I think he was out that one. Oh man, I know that one killed you.
That is very correct, Adam. That is very correct. And it was a big reason. It was a big reason why we were there in the first place. So we were going to see the Knicks Dallas. Ended up being a great game. I mean, we had a hell of a game with a great finish. The Knicks were able to hold on. I thought there was a questionable call at the end of that game where Dallas wins it on a they called a hook on Brandon Williams as he lays the ball in, basically to tie it with less than a second left. We're going to overtime, and they called a hook. I thought he got bumped before the hook, potentially a 3-point play even. Instead, it's a hook, game over, Knicks win. Give Dallas credit, but no, we didn't see Cooper. I've seen him enough to get a pretty good feel for like what he is. I love him. I think he's going to be a can't-miss star. His offense is going to be a roller coaster ride right now because of the inconsistencies with his shooting. That it's just going to be what it is. But the other stuff he does, his defensive instincts, his toughness, he rebounds the ball well. He's got great understanding offensively for where the next play is going to be made. It's just really his shooting is going to be very streaky from night to night, and that's going to affect his numbers. But there's no doubt he's going to be right there. I mean, still has a great chance to win the award. So much basketball left to be played for these guys. But Knueppel, to me, has really, I think, put a fear factor into this Rookie of the Year award. And there's some other guys too that who knows? I mean, Edgecombe had a great start. He's cooled off. But what if he just hits some sort of a wall emotionally and now he goes off like in January and averages 20 plus the way he plays? There's just no telling. It's too early. But Cooper Flagg is the real deal. There's no question in my mind. Even on the nights he has 8 points and doesn't shoot well, I know what I'm looking at. The guy's a can't miss player because of his IQ and toughness and versatility.
Well, you mentioned Edgecombe, and I want to talk about him too because he is putting up basically the same points and rebounds as Cooper Flagg, but 4.2 assists, so even more assists. And Cooper Flagg, it's his all-around game that's so impressive. Edgecombe has cooled off, although he's heated up a little bit over these last couple. But what do you think of him and sort of the trajectory of his 15-game season so far?
Well, first of all, to have the confidence in yourself and self-assurance to go in first game of your career. You're playing a team. There aren't a lot of rivalries in this league, and I'm not sure Philly has one, but Boston would be as close as there is to it. and you go into Boston, your first night of your NBA career, and you drop 34 points in that environment, tells you a lot about this guy, the swagger he plays with. He's got a lot of confidence because he's so explosive athletically too, but I like his shooting mechanics. He's a very good rebounder for his size. But right now, I don't know. Like it's not like, okay, I saw those first, 6, 8 games. It was like, okay, I know what this is going to be, because he averaged 21 points a game in October. He's averaging 12 in the month of November, 35% from the field, 32 from the three. So his shooting has come way down.
Yeah.
So now you just got to kind of go, okay, let's just wait. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's give all these guys half a season. You have a much better feel ultimately, I think, for where this is headed. But he's just got so much raw talent, and he's got so much just self-confidence, and he's in a good situation on the nights Embiid doesn't play, because it's almost like him and Maxey like doing their thing, and they've developed an incredible friendship. He's kind of riding that. That's giving him more confidence. Very, very exciting player. But I want to see now, okay, you've hit a little bit of a slump. Now, the month of December, let's flip that. Let's see if we can get that back looking closer to what it was in October, when you made this splashy sort of debut in the NBA.
Next two guys, teammates, I want to talk about Derik Queen, who we did mention a little bit last week, and Jeremiah Fears. Queen, it's really coming on over the last 2 weeks or so. He's been breaking out. His offensive game is just, I love it. He's one of my most favorite watches right now in the NBA. Defense, he has some work to do. But Jeremiah Fears is putting up 15 points a game as well, 3.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists. His game, he's so small, and I have a little bit of a thing against small guards. You probably could tell a little bit when we were talking about Collin Sexton as well earlier, where you just have to be so great. He's early in his career. He can shoot. He can score. But I'm still not sure how I feel about Fears. So Queen and Fears over at New Orleans, what do you see from them?
Yeah, Queen's one of the most fascinating players in this class, because there's not a shred of explosive like playmaking in him, right? But it's so ABC methodical. But he's got great skill, tremendous touch, great passing ability, awareness. He's just, you wonder, and here's the thing. I mean, Jokic isn't exactly explosive, and look at this guy's career. So I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. Ultimately, I don't want to limit guys, just because of that. But I do wonder, like, okay, what ultimately will this look like 3-4 years from now? Will it look a lot like it is now, or is there something else there? Like maybe if he becomes a great 3-point shooter or something down the road, and now you're like, wow, this guy, he's just lighting you up every night because he can score from all over. Right now, he just fascinates me because of how simple he makes everything look, and he's not fazed by any of this stuff. The game's not too fast for guys that play at his speed. It's interesting. The game gets too fast for the guys that want to play super fast when they're young. That's when the game's too fast. And they get in the air and they throw a bad turnover, or passes get tipped because they weren't ready to deliver it, or whatever. They, like I said earlier, they drive and they fall down and lose their balance. He's not going to the game's not too fast for him because he's playing at his own pace all the time. Really fascinating, surprisingly good here this early in his career, but I think you got to watch him. And then Fears, I got to comp for Fears. When I watch Fears, the guy that I just am instantly reminded of is Dennis Schroeder. That's who I see. I see Dennis Schroeder in him. Now, and Dennis Schroeder's had a very, very good career.
Yeah.
So this guy already 15 as a rookie and like looks this good. Maybe his upside's better than Dennis Schroeder's, but I'm just in terms of stylistically, that's who he reminds me of, man. And they got themselves a couple of players here, a couple of really good young players helping to offset some of the disappointment of the season they've had of Zion, being hurt and all the things that seem like they're always dealing with as an organization. At least they got a couple of young pieces they got right in this draft.
Well, and they're playing through Queen, which is a big deal. Like that's always where guys really can start to break out, when you say, you know what, you're good enough for us to invest possessions where everybody else, same with Kon Knueppel, we're investing possessions and you leading the charge. Here's my question with Derik Queen. I just can foresee, like, he's so young and he's so skilled. I could foresee him being a one-on-one scoring threat against anybody, 3-4 years from now, the type of guy that you feel comfortable giving him a one-on-one against any defender in the league. And he passes well enough that you're not worried about, okay, the offense is going to get bogged down. Like, he's going to make plays off of that. The game is complex. The defensive side is complex. And in today's NBA, there's a lot of different coverages. There's a lot of different stuff. I wonder and this is a weird thing. Big men, in my experience, like just watching the NBA, there's a lot of big men that are maybe a little less focused than other players, and maybe it's because they were always tall and they had an entryway to being on the court or whatever. He stole the ball. I don't know if you saw this the other day at the game. They're down like 17 points, dribbling the ball out, and he goes and steals it and goes for a dunk, which is just like one of those unwritten rules nobody does. He's on Twitter a lot. He's doing some stuff, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I do wonder sometimes, I'm like, oh no, is he like a Dwight Howard personality? Is he one of these guys that's kind of a goofball? Does that matter? Or is it just like, hey man, every personality type, Shaq was a goofball. Look what he did.
No, it matters. It does matter. I don't think you can kind of write that final chapter on his personality profile right yet, but it does matter. Yeah, absolutely. And I think at some point, what that has to translate into at some point, and right now they're not in an environment where this matters, is killer instinct and toughness. Because one thing about Shaq, Shaq was goofy. Shaq would jump on the court and do the worm, right, at shoot around. And like people were like, like breakdancing, like he'd come out with the Jabberwockies at the All-Star game. Like Shaq is one of the most entertaining, athletic figures we've seen. But guess what? When the lights came on at 7:30, ball went up in the air, Shaq was out there to absolutely eat you alive, destroy you. Like his killer instinct was tough. So it's too early to tell because Queen's not in an environment where that's going to matter a whole lot right now. And he's known nothing to this point but instability, right? As an NBA player. So we'll give him time, but I think it matters to your point. And I don't know enough about that to know what his personality profile is. All I know is that like he doesn't seem I'm watching him play sometimes, Adam, and it's like he could do things offensively and you feel like he's yawning. Like he's almost yawning while he's doing it. Like this is kind of boring. Like I can kind of do what I want. Like, so
it might
we'll
just
see.
be his energy, like it might not be a negative thing, but we don't know. I
will say this because I don't think this is going to change because of some physical, just explosive limitations. I don't know that he's never going to be like a big time defender at that spot. It's going to be very difficult for him in this game, the way it's played, the way it's spaced, the pace of the game, the ground you have to cover, those bigs that become like outstanding defenders too, you need a little bit more. You need a little bit more there explosively, but he might be a really, really good offensive player in this league for a really long time. And one thing we don't know about a lot of these guys we're talking about, how long will it take them to be on a good team? Because that is when you really will start to judge these guys. Their contributions to teams that are playing for something, because it's a lot different running onto the court every night when you're playing for a 4-13 team and you've got the green light to do what you want. You're playing 30 plus minutes. The accountability that a normal rookie gets is not there because of the environment. That's a totally different situation than also putting up numbers on a team that's playing for something when there's expectations, scrutiny. The press is going to be covering you differently. The fans are reacting differently. The moments are bigger. All the teammates are demanding more from you. Who knows? I mean, some of these guys, it might take years if they stay where they're at. You just don't know how long it's going to take before they're playing games that matter, and then we judge them totally differently.
Another guy that stands out to me, Cedric Coward, 14 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, but he's shooting really well, 39% on his shots. He just looks like a veteran. He's a veteran rookie when I watch him play.
He's got a beautiful stroke, and he knows how to find open spots. He knows how to play. He just understands his openings and how to take advantage of moments for himself. He has been a nice find. Has surprised me that he's kind of looks this good this fast.
Ryan Kalkbrenner is another one. He didn't play last night, and I'm bummed about it. Rolled an ankle, 9.4 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks per game. I think he's third in the NBA in blocks. 7'2", 80% effective field goal percentage. This guy doesn't miss. He knows his shots. He has great touch around the rim. It's the rare combination of 7'2", can protect the rim, and then just knows what his shots are and is always going to be efficient. He has been maybe the steal of the draft so far, but he's been phenomenal as well.
Yeah, and I think he opened eyes actually this summer out in Vegas. Right off the bat, and you don't know like who's gonna look a little bit jittery or shaky, or like even Knueppel's first game. You had no idea if you saw Kon Knueppel in his first game in Vegas Summer League, and now look at him over the last 10 games. You wouldn't have put those two things together in this shorter period of time. So Kalkbrenner, but he looked good early, like right away in Vegas. He looked like somebody that you're like, man, he's just so damn big. He's so active. He has really good awareness defensively to get there in time to make plays at the rim. And like you said, he finishes everything he gets his hands on. So again, nice find by Charlotte. They found another player.
Last guy I have on my list, and I'll ask you if you have any other guys. I've liked Nique Clifford. Some of this is Denver has played Sacramento 3 times, but I've liked what I've seen from him. More of a role player, but he's a guy that looks like he's going to be a guy that every team would want. Plays defense, has length.
I'm gonna go with another 2 more guys I want to talk about you haven't mentioned. And one of them, I got another comp. I didn't have a lot of comps for this list because sometimes I think it's overrated to use a comp. I thought the Schroeder one with Fears was right on. Collin Murray-Boyles in Toronto. And I know you really like him. You mentioned him early on. He reminds me the way he's built, the way he plays, and his absolute easy, functional, grown man strength. It's Ron Artest. It's meta world peace, man.
Wow.
I know he's left-handed. He's left-handed. He comes at you differently, but watch when he drives how easily he displaces the defender that's sliding with him that's going to try to make a play on him with just the slightest bump. How much guys move backwards. He's got wide shoulders. He's really strong, got a strong body. And the way he finishes against people contesting his shot by just getting his shoulder into their sternum and just making guys move back so you can get to that left hand and finish. That's kind of who he reminds me of early. And they've been one of the stories of the league, the start they've had, and he's been a big part of it. So he was a guy that I wanted to mention. And then the other guy, and look, he's in a really bad situation in Washington, but I really love Tre Johnson, and I do think Tre Johnson, when you look at this draft 5 years from now, Tre Johnson is going to be one of those guys you're going to be talking about because I think he's a natural scorer, bucket getter. Again, plays easy. He can score from anywhere. He scores off the dribble, comfortable in the mid-range. Tre Johnson is a guy in Washington. Again, they got one win. There's not a lot of people going to put eyeballs on him, but pay attention to his numbers throughout the year, particularly second half. I think he might see a significant uptick.
I like it. A little prediction there. And I love the Artest comp. I didn't expect an Artest comp today on the show, but I love it. Really quickly, before we get out of here, we got 2 more things I want to touch on real quickly. One is Nuggets Rockets from over the weekend. That was a marquee game. The 2 second and third best teams in the NBA, and we wanted to find out what order. Denver goes into Houston and gets the win, and I just thought it was an interesting game. What 1 or 2 takeaways you have from that one?
Yeah, huge game, man. And you could see that felt like what a game that you're potentially going to see match up deeper, right, in the spring. Like this very potentially could be. I mean, you could end up with this could be the 2-3 matchup. This could be a second round, potentially playoff series in the Western Conference. That's, I guess, more than anything what stood out to me. I think Jokic, a little bit quieter first half scoring, and then he turned it on when he needed to. I just thought that Denver played those important possessions, important minutes at that key stretch. You're talking about a game that could go either way, 6 minutes to go. Denver, from that point on to the end of the game, looked like a team that's won a championship before. They just had a steadiness about them in the biggest moments. Now, Houston made a couple of shots late that made it interesting. Even Amen Thompson, making a 3, making a mid-range. Like you don't expect that in that moment. So they made some big shots late that made the end of the game very, very exciting. But Denver, to me, they totally took control of that game at a critical time because they've been in that situation and they look like a proven winner when they had to get it done. And it was a cup game. And so it was a big deal. It was a big game. And Denver had just a little bit more of that championship pedigree in them at that moment. But this, to me, absolutely looked like it could be a second round series.
Well, it cost Denver quite a bit in that Aaron Gordon went down with a hamstring injury, and he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, which matches the timeline of Christian Braun, who's out 4 to 6 weeks. So the Nuggets off to a great start. Suddenly they are without 2 starters, and it'll be interesting to see if they can stay afloat in the spot they are in the West. All right, let's end the show today by going to our FanDuel Duels of the Night to look ahead here. We're going to check out our FanDuels of the Night. Download the app, use the code ALLNBA to receive 300 bonus bets when you deposit $5 at sign up. Legs, there's some good games tonight. Nuggets Grizz is not one of them, but Pistons Pacers. Legs, the Pistons can go for 13 straight tonight. Cavs Raptors, the Raptors can go for 8 straight tonight. Which one of these teams is likely to keep their streak alive?
Man, well, I mean, when you look at the state of Indiana right now, I guess you'd have to say Detroit. I mean, and look, I'm shocked by what's happened with the Pacers. I mean, I know how important Halliburton is to that team, and they missed Mathurin for a chunk too. But still, in this league, like you just by playing hard, which they still do play really hard. That should be enough, even that shorthanded, to get you 4 or 5 wins by now. So for Indiana to be struggling, sitting there with 2 wins, has been very, very surprising. Detroit clearly right now, they're not going to want to see this losing streak end to a team that's really struggling, missing key guys. Detroit, I think, is more likely to keep that streak alive. And man, what a story they've been. And look, you kind of knew it the way they finished the season. They were going to be taking a step. I thought top 4 in the East very likely, but they're going out there right now saying, no. Why not us? Why not now? Why couldn't we be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference? That's what they're playing for.
The other game I want to see tonight is Rockets at Suns. There's no Kevin Durant, but the Suns keep winning. And this, even without KD, the Rockets would be an impressive one. Plus, of course, we're talking Dylan Brooks versus old team. Even though KD won't be there, it's still the team that had that trade. So this one I'm kind of interested in because are you buying the Suns? They've looked incredible here over this last little bit.
Here's what I've noticed about them. This is what like a basketball team looks like typically with an established pecking order, a clear-cut alpha offensively. And when you just play harder, it's amazing the things that can happen. Look, they had a team built around Devin Booker offensively before. They went to the finals. It was a formula that worked. They've got to play harder than they had the last 2 or 3 years. They're doing that. Really, really fun team. It's been great to watch a first-time head coach get this opportunity after they had 2 guys run through there for a year each that were championship caliber coaches, guys that had won titles in Frank Vogel, Budenholzer. Those guys had won titles. They went out and got them. They were there a year each. They ate all that money. Now you go out and you get Jordan Ott. Let's give it to a guy that's never coached before, but let's rearrange the formula here. Rather than this sort of my turn, your turn, more ISO heavy basketball, let's go back to a formula built around this guy. A lot of role players that play hard and shooting all over the floor. And let's see what that can look like. And that's what Phoenix is doing right now. So kudos. Look, man, the number of good stories in this league, team-wise, I mean, obviously, Detroit's not a huge surprise, but 13-2 maybe a little bit. But like Toronto, incredible story. Miami's much better than I thought they would be. Chicago cooled off a little bit, but still 9-7. Philadelphia without Embiid most of the season. And then I think when you look at the Western Conference, Houston would be the one team that stands out more than any other. Phoenix more than any other with the fact that they redid their entire team, go with the first-time head coach, and here they are looking like a team that like you want to watch every night. Interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some super chats. What do we have here, James? What were the people saying? Rylan Burrows says, question mainly for Legs. As someone who's grown up in OKC, it always felt like we were the red-headed stepchild of the NBA because of the city. What's the bigwig perspective of the city? Of Oklahoma City? What's the bigwig?
I'm not sure what you mean. Are you saying that? I don't know. What do you think that like you're not respected? Like I'm not sure what
every fan base thinks their team's not respected. I think he might be asking about the city, but I don't know.
I mean, look, everything's relative. You go by everybody's going to compare certain markets in this league to the big markets, the sexier markets, and like that. Every summer, typically, you just go by the free agent carousel. Like, where are those guys typically rumored to be visiting? They take the LA visit, the New York visit, the Miami visit, right? The Chicago visit. Right. A lot of times, the smaller market teams, they don't get that kind of attention. You shouldn't care. Honestly, you shouldn't care about it. You got the best team in the league. They look almost now like they're starting to get the sense that they want to be hell-bent on being historic, not just being a team that's really good for X amount of time. They want to be historically good, and they want to keep this going for a long time and maybe even make history this year. So just don't worry about it, man. Enjoy the team you have. They're incredible people in Oklahoma City. I spent more time in that city than any other city in the league last year. The fan base is incredible.
Fan base is
They're
great.
polite. They're polite to the opposing teams. Even they're just good people, man. Midwest people, and enjoy what you have. Don't worry about the outside perspective on the city, man. Just enjoy this basketball team because they do it the right way.
What else we got? Psycho Blue, he says the Chaos Mage of B-Ball Cthulhu decided to bring a piece of Mini to Phoenix on Friday, now playing Blair Walsh, Anthony Edwards.
Again, man, we got to get our CIA decoders in here and try to get a handle on.
Cue that outro music there, James.
No one can put more into 2 sentences. Nobody.
We appreciate everybody hanging out with us, man. We do have another show on Wednesday. We'll be breaking things down. There's some good games tonight. You're not on the call at any game this week, are you, Legs?
No, I am. Yeah, I'm actually Thanksgiving Eve. We got a great one, man. I'm going to be on the call for Houston at Golden State. We got a triple header on Thanksgiving Eve on ESPN, and I will be the late game, Houston at Golden State.
All right, well, there you go. We're going to be back, though, on Wednesday giving you a show, so make sure you're subscribed here. Make sure you're subscribed on your podcast apps, whatever it is you use for your podcast. So if you're on the go, you can listen to us there. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you Wednesday.